is Jimmy Mans. I'm a postdoctoral researcher from Leiden University, and we are here at the Bloody River here in St. Kitts. What I know is that this place is characterized by an event that took place here in 1626, and it in fact represents the end point of the permanent contact, the very short permanent contact between the English, the French and the Kalinago here. When the English and French first came to the island from 1624 onwards, they settled in Old Road, and at first the contacts were friendly, but over time more and more territory was being encroached upon by the English and the French, and the Kalinago, and the tensions between the Kalinago and the English and French got higher and higher. So it happened that there was a plan formed by the Kalinago together with Kalinago from other islands to attack the English and the French. This attack, this plan, was known by a lady called Barb, as it is known from the historical sources. The English got aware of these plans and they actually attacked before this happened. And what we know, we don't know where it actually took place, but the idea is that it was also here. The name Bloody River was because the attack took place up in this gorge, and the bodies actually colored the river here red for days on end. In all fairness, my first connection is academically. I'm a researcher, so this is what brought me here. It's as a researcher of the indigenous history of this island, I'm fascinated by such a place. But also in coming to speak to people here, I also made some friends, and it's nice to see the people here again. So that is, on the second place, nice to be here. What I like to see happen to this site is that now, as you pass it, you don't see anything happening here. You pass it, you don't see any sign. You should really get your attention to it to be aware of this history that took place here. It would be nice that you could actually stop over here. Now you see cabs driving by, they stop here near the gut, they point out the window and they tell a story, but nobody's getting out of the car. And I think it would be very nice to create, it might even be small, but a physical place where actually people can come out, learn about the history. Now you do have these places, for instance in Brimstone Hill you have a little hall where you can learn more about this event. Also in Basse-Terre itself you can learn a bit more, but in the place itself it's really actually nice to experience the gorge by yourself. So I would think that a physical place would really help to have something people can actually visit and not just by the road only. Why I feel that Bloody Point is important is that it is a site, an event that captures our eyes on the indigenous history of St. Kitts. Many people who you ask here on the island, if it concerns the Carib or Kalinago as they are known today, they will mention Bloody Point. It's the first thing that comes to mind. And what I really like about this place is that Bloody Point, in fact, the event that took place here in this specific spot actually represents and symbolizes the Kalinago history of this place. Some excavations have been done here and a bit higher up, explaining us or learning us more or teaching us about the history that took place here before the Kalinago came here. So we are talking about the first millennium AD and later. We also know that the petroglyphs probably already predating the Kalinago presence. The Bloody Point is actually the end point of an era of indigenous presence here on the island. But every site also has a future. And the future of this site is that Bloody Point is still known to the people today. It's still in the mind of people. And one of the most recent examples of that is during the Carib Festa. People here of Challengers have been telling me about this. That actually Kalinago from Dominica came here to commemorate the history, although also the sad history, but also the presence of the indigenous here on the island. And although now new names have been attached also to this place, we know it as well as Stoneford River, Pelham River, the village is called Challengers, but since it's also called Bloody Point, this is the future of this site too. And I think we should keep this in remembrance. my idea of 1492 also changed while doing my research. For a long time, also for research, I could easily say for the past decades, even centuries, is that from 1492 actually the most knowledge came from the Caribbean. From the European records, the European chroniclers, we know a lot about the European history of the Caribbean. It's also not that weird, because most of that knowledge has been written down also by Europeans and also being researched by Europeans. Now the time is changing. 1492 is actually more an event of a continuous history that has taken place here. It's not only the written word that is perhaps the mode of knowledge that we should focus on. It's perhaps also other modes of knowledge that will help us bring forward. It's not only Western researchers anymore, it's people from in and outside of the Caribbean who have an interest in the history of this place, who come here and in fact look at the history of this place itself. 1492 actually represents a connection between the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. It is a bringing together of a large networks that were already in development at the same time. So it also brings our attention to what happened here before 1492. So 1492 is in fact only an event in that history, admittedly with a lot and very heavy effects, but it gives us an idea of the history of the place itself.